Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Hey YouTube, we just watched the Jade Tech Mastery preview and it showcased the latest and the final Mastery for End of Dragons. Couple things, we'll put the description of the actual stream there so you can actually watch the entire stream uninterrupted. But for this stream or this video, we're going to just review what we just saw. So first thing, I want to talk about how you actually get the Jade Tech Mastery, how you learn some of the mechanics of this mastery. And then we're going to talk about the features in those mastery points that you have to upgrade the Jade Tech bot. And then, of course, finally, how you acquire some of those upgrades that you will use for this program. And, of course, any other things that are relevant to discuss. So I am joined by Aura. Aura's going
Hello.
to give us her thoughts as well. So we're going to get into this. And yeah, let's start. The first thing is somewhere around here. This is what was interesting to me. They actually talked about in the storyline of the game. They didn't obviously spoil anything in the storyline, but they mentioned that the way you'll actually get your Jade bot is in the storyline.
Yeah.
But the cool thing, which I like, and this was something you also mentioned, building off of Path of Fire, is they're going to actually use open world hearts to teach you the mechanics of the Jade Mastery. I actually like this idea.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned they did that for mounts as well, right? Path of Fire was also the
Yeah.
same.
Like on the skimmer, to acquire the skimmer, you had the rental ones where you could move around, go take fruit from people, and it was dangerous. For the bunny one, to complete it, you need to use the bunny raptor. There was a training run for the raptor as well as the story instance. Even the jackal had demonstrations of like how its movement benefited from it, and you could really mess around with it. And from what you can see on screen, there's a whole training ground heart for the Jade bot. Really get to explore.
Yeah. Let me just skip us a little ahead here. They actually showcase one cool feature, which is the this feature. Oh yeah, this feature here. Okay, they're gonna click that. And look at that. You can actually fly up with the Jade bot. So you can actually take control of the bot itself. It's not just there to help you. You can actually use it. And this is where some sort of picturesque, screenshots can be taken. The only thing I didn't note, I noticed that the one thing they didn't do was they couldn't go into first person. I don't know if they couldn't go or they just chose not to, but they didn't go into first person. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if you could go into first person because that would make the shots even better, right? Where you can kind of control where you are.
Turn off the HUD, go into first person, take some nice screenshots. Basically have a drone camera for filming.
Yeah, but they didn't show that you can go, so I'm assuming you can't because that's not something
Definitely a test.
Maybe.
Definitely something to test on release in 17 days.
First person will get you inside walls and stuff, so they don't want you to show it. That could be a reason. Although that will kind of suck though, because there's a lot you could do with like this. This would help a lot with taking videos in the game and things like that. So for content creators, this in the open world would be a lot of fun. They mentioned now some of these features that the bot can do might not apply in instanced content such as fractals, such as raids, such as strikes, such as PvP and world versus world. Some of those mechanics they could be too game changing, such as the revival, such as what else? Maybe this as well. As you can see, like look, this was a heart, and it's just showing you how to interact with the bot and how to use it. So some of those mechanics like revivals, such as personal waypoints, aren't going to be able to be put up in instance content and competitive content. Makes sense. I'm okay with this. Like it would be too much game changing and impacting the game in honestly for worse, to be honest. So I'm okay with that not being allowed.
It would, yeah. Like if you could just revive yourself with the Jade bot and raids, even the worst players could go and complete a raid at that point. And it wouldn't be as prestigious to be able to complete it or even get the armor from it.
Yeah. First person gets you. They need to follow a feature for Jade, like a follow feature. Oh, okay, yeah, that would actually be fun. I don't know how taxing that would be for them though. Because right now they only have one follow feature, which was now just introduced in End of Dragons. We saw this in Xing Jay's stream, where you can follow another person's raptor. So you basically, like, it's one of those, like, lazy follow buttons in usual MMOs. It would be cool for this, but I don't know. This would be more difficult, especially if you're trying to follow someone on another mount that's supposed to be, like a griffin or a beetle. I could definitely see a lot of issues with that. For now, we'll see. We'll get to test this out. Another cool feature that they do mention, and this is talking about the masteries here. So as you can see, you have gliding booster, and this is one of what we've seen on the trailer. So I think Ben here will get on his glider and show us that you can, use your Jade bot to give you a bit of an updraft, as you could see here. And this is supposed to be like the maximum one, right? This isn't like the default.
It comes in 3 tiers, which they'll discuss later. I don't know if we'll skip over it or not, but we should probably see it, where you can go and upgrade all the different ones, and it gives like bigger and bigger boosts. That one obviously that we saw being the biggest boost.
It's a very good boost as well. I actually felt like this improved gliding into such a way where, like, it's not been the most that people have been using ever since we had mounts, but I do like to see that. Like, sometimes, honestly, I just prefer to use the glider, and having something like this would definitely help. So I'm okay with this. The recharge on this was not shown on the gliding booster, but I'm assuming it will take one of your recharges. So, the one thing that they're doing with bots is, like, you can't just infinitely spam any of this. There's going to be recharges, and if you use them all up, you're going to have to recharge your recharges so that you can use it again.
For sure. With the charges, though, from what I can tell, even the gliding boost or the revive will not take the charges, because if you actually watched, she didn't. There was no charges.
This time, chat. This time, I'm staying as far away as possible from the devs, because it's highly unlikely that I will be partnered. So, this is kind of the border of separation between me and ArenaNet partner. Even my logo is closer to them than I am. Anyway, so multi-charge. I think they discussed something about. So yeah, your Jade bot can now carry up to 4 Jade energy charges at a time. You can craft tier 3 and tier 4 power cores. We'll get into that crafting in a bit. That's more towards the end of this video that they showcase. So yeah, you're pretty much limited with how many charges you have, and the more you use those charges, then the less you can use the bot in other ways. So if you glide 4 times, I believe the updraft, the way it works, if you use that 4 times, you basically used 4 charges. If you put out a Jade Tech Waypoint 4 times, then you used it like 4 times or something like that, right? And there's of course cooldowns for all of these features. For example, the Jade Tech Waypoint, which they'll come up again in quite a bit. Well, this is just them showcasing that you can recharge your bots. So yeah, there are battery charges around the world to do this. So this can kind of like be convenient. So you don't have to keep running back to an outpost to do your charges. This is them just showing the battery. But for example, like if you did something with like your Jade Tech Waypoint, they did mention that it's not as simple as spawning it like again after a minute or another minute. Like if you use your Jade Waypoint,
it's a long cooldown.
Yeah, it's a long cooldown.
Long cooldown. It gets consumed, and for the batteries, they'd even said like unless it's an area that specifically will need the batteries, like you'll need to use the kit there probably won't be batteries available. So definitely certain abilities will be unusable, things like that. We'll definitely have to take a look when the game comes out or the expansion comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is them putting up the Jade Tech Waypoint. So R2, the thing is, there is a cooldown of 10 minutes when you use the waypoint. So 10 minutes is quite a long time in the open world. A lot of things can happen in 10 minutes. And when you go to it, I believe the 10 minutes is when you actually use the waypoint. So even though you could use it 4 times, that's only every 10 minutes. That's 40 minutes before, to actually get the full maximum capacity, which is good because you don't want to be, speed rushing bosses. You don't want to be abusing it in the open world. And I actually quite preferred that they had the cooldown. This was one of my worries. I felt like this was going to be too broken, but it's good that they accounted for 10 minutes. 10 minutes to me sounds like a good takeaway for this waypoint.
I mean, 10 minutes is almost the entirety of the Quaddle fight, which is what a lot of people would probably use it for to get back quickly.
Yeah. Same with like Jakar, same with like Brandish Shatterer. Like I think 10 minutes is a good enough kind of setback, right? Like you have a plus, but then here's your minus. And then here, I think they'll talk about energy efficiency after that. Did they actually hover over energy efficiency?
Yes. Energy efficiency. I believe that was just acquiring. Yeah, it was acquiring more energy from the batteries really quickly, and the ability to charge via ziplines and craft higher cores.
Ah, right, that's correct. Yeah, so okay, so more charges and the zipline thing. So as you can see, they're gonna use the zipline, and yeah, if you have this mastery, then your Jade bot will also take energy charges from this. Not bad, pretty good use of using the ziplines. I know a lot of people were like, what's the whole point of ziplines? Like, it's not needed. It doesn't like, and I think like, yes, it's somewhat faster and it does add a bit more quality to the game. But yeah, is it, the be all end all better than gliding or anything? I sure it's not maybe better than gliding, but I think there's no reason to not have something that's cool in the game. I don't think this was supposed to be like, oh, way better than something else, right? It's supposed to do what it does. It's ziplining, and that's all it needs to be. So I didn't mind this actually.
One thing to note as well is like gliding and only the most basic mounts are going to be available in End of Dragons to players. So, and I think it's like the most basic versions of all of them. So ziplines will outclass those by a long shot, which is probably also what they were built with the design thought of.
Yeah, that's actually true. And they did mention that there's a few mounts that will be available, but not every mount will be available. Like I know you can get your Raptor and your Sky Scale, right? But we have no idea if they will eventually introduce the other mounts, and if they do, like how long will it take them to introduce the other mounts? This now is the rescue protocol, which is one of the other features that the Jade Tech can do. This I'm not too fond of, but it seems like when you go down, it doesn't take your number 4 skill completely. You can choose to just use your auto revive like that you normally have. You can also use the rescue protocol. They did mention that this can't also be spammed too much, right? Like it's like a one-time use.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a one-time per like long cooldown. I'm pretty sure it probably can be interrupted. It definitely is one of the better heals in the game, but they were also out of combat, so it's hard to tell because out of combat you can revive so much faster than in combat. Generally speaking, the down skill will definitely help players who go down a lot, or in big group content where you're not paying attention.
Yeah. ED is not giving Sky Scale. Is it just Raptor then?
It's Raptor, Springer, and I think Skimmer.
Oh, okay.
I believe just those 3.
So not even
but
the
I could
mounts.
be mistaken. But I remember it's the most basic of basic mounts, just to give you like some traversal options, because I think they were designed with those in mind.
Fair enough. And I mean, one thing here, right, is like they mentioned this is also one feature that won't be included in like the instance content or PvP WW is the revival. So there you have it. You can't abuse it. You can't cheat raids. You can't cheat strikes, fractals. Revive orbs are still in play, chat. All right. So if you're a fractal enjoyer, revival orbs are still in the go-to. Yeah, I'm okay with this. I mean, in the open world, also, I'm not honestly. I could do without this. I don't feel like having more revival options is needed. The open world is pretty easy for the most part. You know, I won't say it's like just easy in general, but I think for the most part, it's easy to get around in the open world. And even without like some mounts or anything, like I don't think it's too much of an issue. So to me, this isn't really something I am too excited about. But hey, you know what? It's fine. It's another option. Maybe some players might actually need the help, and more help maybe makes their gameplay more smoother. And this is here, the cores area, and this is where you can go make your cores. So it's a workbench. It's not jeweler, which what we thought was going to be a jeweler to 500. It seems like it's not. And these
It's
cores,
jeweler to 400.
yeah,
They did cover over one of the recipes, which showed jeweler 400.
Did they? Oh, so maybe jeweler 500? Maybe?
No, I think you just need 400. I don't think they added more levels for it. I think they're just capitalizing on the endpoint currently, which makes sense.
Mm.
But back on the cores, as you can see, the cores give the player a vitality boost. MM?
Yeah. So they mentioned that the cores are actually going to be accessible to even people who aren't who don't have like the End of Dragons expansion. And the reason for that is they don't want people missing out on the extra vitality. So these are actually tradable. You can buy these off the trading post. So if you're someone who doesn't even have the expansion, you could still use this just to equip it, just to have the extra vitality. They don't want to limit people to only the ones with End of Dragons. Now the cores, yes, all of them are tradable. They mentioned some of them can be crafted, some of them can be dropped from bosses. And so these are tradable across the world. Think of them as like, the best way to explain them is like glyphs, right? The way you use glyphs for gathering materials, you have like different glyphs give you different upgrades for your gathering materials. Like you have glyph of volatility, gives you gathering materials, volatile magic. Every time you harvest something, you'll get VM for it. Or glyph of speed, where it just allows you to gather things at a quicker pace. So this is the same thing. You'll have different cores for different like needs that you want. So they'll go through some of them here. So these are the
So there's a bunch.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, these are the sensory arrays, which there is quite a lot. Where basically, there are some which loot dead bodies for extra wood, metal, leather, cloth, might or magic trophies, to go over the major ones.
Yeah, like the scavenger one. The scavenger is more or less, if you have it equipped, if you're looting dead bodies, it will randomly, so it's kind of RNG still, but it will maybe give you a chance to get wood, maybe a chance to get metal, maybe a chance to get T6 mats if you have like the scavenger, depending on what scavenger protocol you have equipped. And you can upgrade these as well, I believe. So you can see leather, magic trophies as well.
I'm not sure if you can upgrade the scavenger cores, but I know there are arrays and services that you can definitely upgrade.
Maybe it's not the scavenger. Recycler. Maybe you can't. Yeah, maybe this one also you can't upgrade, but recycler is also supposed to work the same way, where you recycle instead junk items. They mentioned like basically like lower end junk items. They said like junk items with higher value, like that you could just straight up vendor to get gold out of the NPC. They might not include in the recycler, but they didn't mention a specific amount. But yeah, recyclers, you can recycle junk items and they can turn them into a currency. One of them is being Jade Slivers, which is a currency for End of Dragons. Although I don't know if Jade Slivers will be something like of a good currency, because if you could already like get them through junk items, this already devalues this currency quite a lot, right? So this already makes Jade Slivers a very lower end currency. It doesn't really make it something that's top tier. And then you have Jade Slivers for Dragonite. Oh, sorry, you have recyclers for Dragonite. So you can recycle the junk items for Dragonite ore. So that's like another ascended material that you want. If you don't have enough of these already, you have Imperial Fragments. So you'll have more inventory options to fill all of these, ascended materials that you still don't know what to do with, but are actually pretty useful for time-gated materials whenever you need them. There's I think a couple others that they showcased. No, I think that might be it. Yeah, that's at least what they showed. So the Dragonite, Imperial, Bloodstone, and the Jade Slivers. Oh, right. And now they have the enhancers for your Turtle Siege. This is actually kind of nice. Damage for Turtle Siege skill by 20%. And this is if you're the driver or if you're the gunner. So like it'd be kind of big if both of you have it too. And this is what I talked about, which could be pretty good for map completion. So for like people like Aura here who enjoy map completion, you're gonna have a field day. The fact that your mounts can boost regeneration by 30% on top of the fact that you have the vitality booster anyway.
When we were originally watching the live stream, I even said that's probably going to be the one that's just defaultly left equipped for me.
Yeah, exactly. So you get your what map comp number 45 out of this?
Oh, I need to get to those 45. I'm on map comp 20 I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Remember, folks, map comping can be fun if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and as you can see, you can only have 2 equipped at a time, so you can't really have all of them featured. You kind of have to pick and choose. There's for example the gliding booster 3. This is where we talked about like you could have gliding booster 1, gliding booster 2, glider booster 3. That's what those crafting tiers mean. Like you can also upgrade these modules slowly. Some of them can be upgraded. So that's what they kind of meant with the crafting tiers if you saw those in the masteries. So for example, Ben here has it equipped at gliding booster 3, and this is why it allowed him to get like the biggest boost on his gliding updraft. So yes, you can upgrade them from the workbench. There's the skiff supercharger 3. This is basically increasing the speed of your skiff when you're I guess steering your lovely boat and everything. So
when you're going on those boating parties?
Boating tournaments, actually. I'm more looking for the boating tournaments.
Yeah, maybe some fishing tournaments we might see host. Who knows?
Yeah. Increase, for example, the speed at which your bot can recharge its rescue protocol by 40%. So this, again, is going back to the rescue protocol. So you can, I guess, decrease the time it takes to reuse that skill. And I'm assuming that will be the same for the Waypoint. I'm hoping it's not to the point where like the Waypoint gets to like from 10 minutes to like 3 minutes. You know, I'm really hoping it's still something closer to 5 minutes instead of less than 5. Because anything less than 5 feels like it'll be abusable. So I'm really hoping they are very, very strict on how much you can take this kind of recharge on those two specifically, like the rescue and the Waypoint protocol.
Just to voice something really quick that was asked in the chat, which is what profession I play for map comping. I know it's off topic, but my goal is to do one of every race class combo, just for anybody curious. Back on topic though, I definitely think the treasure hunting one that that's hovered over on, I think that's probably going to be one of the best money making ones of all these.
Mm-hmm. Imagine getting all the treasure hunts in the area. So yeah, this is supposed to just literally within 4,000 range give you all the treasure chests in your area. If you have this upgraded to Protocol 3, you'll never have to go find things again. Like you literally just go to every map and spam this. I could actually see Taco already implementing something like this into its feature. So you could probably expect the Taco patch within like a couple weeks.
Just equip I think you need the treasure hunting protocol equipped to even find it. But 4,000 is actually 4,000 is pretty large, contrary to what someone in chat just said.
Yeah, 4,000 is pretty big, yeah.
Because like a 1,200 range is what most rangers have, and that's very far, just in terms of like around you, and you're timesing that almost by 4.
And then here, this is like just the NPC where you can get the cores and upgrade them into different tiers. And then as you can see, like also upgrading the recipes to get the other stuff like metal,
You can
your
see there the
scavenger, your
jeweler.
recycler, mount energy, boosters and recharge.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it. The last thing that they did mention though is, can you name the bot? No, you can't. The reason for this is the bot, for the most part, is not an actual item spawned into the game. It's just a skill effect. So what you're seeing is actually not a I guess interactable, I think, item, or more of just like it's a skill effect made in a very cool way that you can just use it. So this means makes it easier on your computer when you're like, you know, with other players who have their Jade bots around. So it's more of a skill effect, not an actual item. Helps with their server performance. Because of that, you can't name it, and I feel like you can't also make skins out of it. All right, I'm actually a little torn on this, man, because like skins, it's a very good opportunity to make money out of this. Look at this.
I definitely agree, and I actually do hope they find some sort of way to add skins, even if it's just like altering the effect. But I get the feeling it will be down the road, not right away, that we get it, if we get it.
All right. Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all the things that we wanted to touch upon in this stream. Overall, you know, it's like definitely it's a good QOL. You know, for new players, it's supposed to really be helpful. A few features again that me and our maybe might not be too particularly fond, but then there are some that are very useful. But that's it. That's it for this video, YouTube. If you enjoy the content, subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments below what you think are, you know, what's the good thing that you found about this mastery. What's the bad? What's the improvements you might want to see, or maybe some features that you thought could be touched up on. But yeah, let me know in the comment section. But that'll be it for this video. Again, the description will be the video for the actual stream that Inet hosted will be in the description below, so you can check it out there in its entirety. But that's it. Bye, YouTube. See ya.
Bye.
All right, that was